Now, this happens if you only save 30% of your total income that you usually get, be it either at the end of the month, day, or the week. We ought to fix this nation. And by the way, I know I've been posting videos, but this is the video that you've been looking forward. And perhaps you feel like, hey, I don't want to watch a longer video. This is it. Just sacrifice those 13 minutes might change your life completely. I don't want to waste your time. Let's get on my board. All right. Now, I always advise you guys, nowadays in 2023, we don't save money. We invest. There are a variety of areas where you can invest your money. All right. Remember one thing I always say, it is good to invest or rather save at least 20% of your total income, all right, towards an investment. All right. But guess what? I have two individuals here. I have individual A who is within Kenya, all right, and have individual B who is outside the country, okay, outside country. Now, the point is this, these two individuals, two different things are expected from them. If you are within our country or if you are within Kenya, it's okay, go ahead and save you or invest your 20% of your total income. If you are in Gulf, America, Europe, whatever the place, provided you are diasporian, all right, and you must save at least 30% above and all the way up to 60%, and if you can, why not 70% if you don't have much of the responsibilities, all right? So let's get into the business. Now, today we are talking about investing only 30% of your total income. Now, the question is this, people don't understand. What do I mean by 30% of your total income? Let me just break it for you so that you can understand. What do I mean by 30% of your income? Now, let's say maybe you earn yourself like 30,000 at the end of the month. 30,000 at the end of the month. Now, what is 30% of this? So now what is 30% of this? You see, 10% of this is 3K, all right? 20% of this is 6K, and 30% of this is 9K. That's what I mean. If you earn yourself 100,000 at the end of the month, 30% of it is 30K. That's what I mean, all right? If you earn 10,000 at the end of the month, now, what is 30% of it? Okay, 1% of it is 1,000, 1K, 20% it is 2K, and 30% of it is 3K. That's what I mean by 30%. Now, what is this magic that happens if you dare invest this amount of money? And remember this point. In 2023, nowadays, we do not save money. Why don't we save money? You see, kitambo or back then, people used to accumulate, store money, all right? And then they take that money once they get their capital, and then they go invest it. And when I say investment, kindly understand, I don't mean businesses, I mean investment. By the way, let me tell you one secret. Sometimes you may wish to start a business, but you do not have that money at hand. Let's say you've been looking forward to starting a boutique, mtumba business, a butchery, a hardware, what have you, but you do not have that money at hand. So do you just keep your money in a bank whereby they just rest idle and a certain bag called inflation is eating your money, all right? Do you do that? No, you don't do that. This is 2023. What we do is that we skip the part of saving and we go directly to what? To investment. Right? The variety of areas where you can be able to invest your money. All right. So before I go that point, let me just explain. Now, 30% of your total income, what do you do and what do you get at the end of the day? So let's pick an example. Let's say you earn 60,000 at the end of the month, right? Or let's say 70,000. Or let's stick with 60,000, all right? So 60,000 at the end of the month, that means the 30% of it. So say you earn 60,000 at the end of the month. Now, what is 30% of it? 30% of 60,000. Who can tell me? All right, I know you've already guessed. So 10% of this is 6K, all right? 20% of this is 12K, all right? And 30% of this is what? 18K. Now, this is the magic thing. Now, you invest your 18,000 at the end of the month. Yeah, do you know what this means for you to actually go ahead and invest 30%? It means you have to live now below your means. Now, you take your 60,000, right? Your 60,000, you subtract 18,000. That gives you like 42,000 remaining. Now, what does it mean if you were to invest 30% of your total amount of income from a 60,000 salary? It means that you have to survive under 42,000 at the end of the month. What does it mean? You have to differentiate to know where goes for you, how much goes for your rent, how much goes for your food, how much goes for your entertainment, how much goes for your black tax if you're paying any, how much goes for your school fees if you have any kids. All right. So it means all the way you have to cut down your operational cost, or we usually call them the recurrent expenditures, meaning these are the things that you cannot ignore. You have to eat, you have to pay your rent, you have to pay your utilities, likes of water, electricity, and what have you, so that at least you can come with this. You know what? Yeah, it is easier said than done. That's the reality and that's the truth. It means that it comes with the sacrifices attached to it 18% or 18,000 with regard to 60,000. Now, what do you do with this 18,000? And I said, you're not supposed to save it. You can go directly to investment. Let's say your target now, this individual's target is to get, maybe let's talk of 250,000. Let's say this guy is looking forward into starting a spa, right? Or a salon, or whatever the business you want to start. Or maybe let's say you have a name of buying a piece of land one day, okay? Or maybe let's say you just want to buy a car, all right? Now, the point is this. Now, you're saving this 18,000 at the end of the month. So, if you were to calculate this 18,000 multiplied by 12, meaning at the end of the year one, how much do you get? All right? So, you're going to get yourself a substantive amount of money. And guess what? That amount of money that you get at the end of the year, what happens is like, you not only get what you've been saving, but you're also getting something called an interest on top of that. Now, where do you channel this money? I know I've been talking about these things, and I'm not going to talk about it again and again and again and again, because it is the area where we keep our money. I do keep my money there. You ought to be keeping your money there, but of course, not all of it. All right? So this amount of money that you're getting at the end of the month in terms of your saving, which is 30%, do not channel all of it in one area. We always say, by the way, even Bible calls you a fool if you put all your money in one basket. So you're not supposed to do so. So you divide this money. You can decide to go into three things. You can decide, let me just rub by both so that at least you can get what I'm saying. Now, the point is this, we have 18,000 on top there as the money that you need to invest, all right? So now, this is the money. 18,000, 18,000, 18,000. This is the cash to invest. Now, I want you to differentiate or to subdivide this money into three areas, okay? Put that money in what we call withdrawable money, withdrawable, meaning that you can access your money anytime or something of sort. I'm avoiding to use the term emergency fund, but let me just use it, emergency fund somewhere, whereby you can be able to withdraw your money. B, put this money in a where we say it's a what? It's a fixed sort of a what? Fixed sort of an income or fixed sort of an investment, all right? And C, invest what we call the long term whole, the long-term what? Goal. This is the money that you keep out there. You quote unquote forget it. That's what we say in Kenya. And again, this one you're looking forward into years to come. 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 years to come. All right. What does it mean? Now, what we say is that most of the money should be kept here. Most of it. Let's say this 18,000 you divide it into 3. Divide it by 3. All right, what do? We can keep, or we can be able to invest, like let's say here we can put our what? We can put like our 10,000. We can put our 10,000 here, and of course, when I say our 10,000 here on this fixed income, we can put it into money market fund, that whereby you cannot be able to withdraw. You can take 4,000 here. You put it at your disposal. Something can just happen. You put your 4,000 here. You put your 4,000, all right, on this area, meaning you can be able to access this money anytime you want. And the other 4,000, you can actually put it towards this area. Or maybe you can decide to put 5,000 on this area, 5,000 on this area for the purposes of the emergency, and then you put 3,000 on this section, meaning this one is for a long-term investment. Now, this is what happens. On the fixed part of it, you can actually take an MMF. Maybe it's giving you like 10.5%, or maybe let's say a flat rate of 9%, all right? And the other side, this one is not really earning you anything, all right? This one is actually earning you 0 interest. And the other side, you actually put this on stocks or shares. And by the way, let me tell you one secret. Right now, as we speak, the global, whatever, we call it the Bloomberg, actually described Nairobi Stock Exchange as the worst performing stock exchange in the world as we speak. Do you know what that means? I know you're like, but you've been telling us to buy shares. Don't you think that is a very bad idea? No. It did not say that the companies are actually performing poor. It means that the Nairobi Stock Exchange is actually performing poor. You see, remember one thing, Nairobi Stock Exchange is the market, okay? It's like Mudhurwa, where people who are selling different things usually meet. It's like saying, hey, Mudhurwa is performing poorly, but does it mean that the people who are doing the business out there are actually performing poor? Not really the case. And remember one thing, we are on the bear market. It means once we are down there, it's actually the best time to get your money into it, meaning buying, and also we can be able to rise with it and make some cash. That's why I've said, put your 3 Gs at the end of the month. Now say this, each and every month I'll be buying shares of a given company, all right? You put your 3,000, 3,000, 3,000, 3,000 continuously. Guess what you're entitled to? At this particular point, you can earn in 2 A's or 2 areas. A, you can earn on dividends. B, you can earn on what we call what? Capital gains, meaning the shares can actually rise in price. Right now, as we speak, actually, some of the shares have actually gone down. For example, the Safaricom shares, they've come all the way from 26 shillings to 14 shillings. And if you're an investor and you know very well how the market behaves, that thing will bounce back to that figure that was there before. All right, we usually call it we call it the 52-week range. All right, at what range can it fluctuate from what to what? So if it was all the way from 26, now it's at 14. So there is also a possibility of it going back to where it was before. So if you can actually be able to invest as of now, looking forward into time, we can be able to go back there and be able to make something. That's what we call the capital gain. In the issues of the dividends, obviously, you get the dividends. Now, this one respect to what they pay in terms of EPS, meaning earning per share. But anyway, you can check my previous video talking about the way you earn on shares and what have you, okay? On this area where you've fixed your money, this area where you've fixed your money, it's actually way safer. You know very well, hey, guess what? There is a certain 10,000 that I always keep each and every month so that at least I can progress in my life. And remember one thing, this one, don't look at it from the point of it making you rich or wealthy in time. No, you can't. That's for sure. I always tell people, these areas where we keep our money is actually to help us be able to raise the enough capital for us to go and start the appropriate investment that we would like to invest in future. Once you get the money that is quite substantive here, and I always say, if maybe you'll be able to reach, let's say you are 100K, you can always decide to go and invest in things like treasury bills, okay, treasury bills, or maybe you can invest on what? On the treasury bonds. Why this? Because number one, they are way safer than whatever, and number two, they usually have what we call better returns. Okay, that's what we say. All right, because hey, you do not have the 100K at your disposal right now, so you can be able to use these areas. You get your money, you can fix it, let's say in 1 year. You get your 100 Gs, you take the 100 Gs, you put it on the treasury bills. Treasury bills within 1 year, they give you a rate of around 14%, and let's say maybe after the deduction in terms of the taxes, they pay you like, let's say 12.5%. Now at that particular point, if you invest your 100,000, you got yourself like over 12,500 at the end of the year. All right, again, this treasury bill is not meant to make you rich. You can also be looking forward where you can be able to channel your money. If you realize that the land can actually do better for you, you get your money, buy a piece of land. If you realize, hey, you can be able to go ahead and start a business, then you go ahead, withdraw your money and start a business. That's what we do it. We usually use these areas to actually accumulate our cash, build our financial muscles. We get the cash, invest in a better options. After we get that better deal, we get our money, and then we'll be able to do what? So once you drain your fixed income, you put it on the treasury bill, you go to the step one again and again, you keep on pushing. Again, you're feeding this. It's like you have three beasts that you're feeding at the same time. You're feeding the emergency fund, meaning if something crops up, and God forbid, you can be able to withdraw this cash, be able to cater for that. And the other area, you're feeding this long term. And I always tell people, view this one as a long term, not a thing that will be able to solve your tomorrow's problem. View it as a thing that will be able to be there in years to come. Say maybe you have a young kid. That young kid, by the time they go to high school, by the time they go to university, you can actually be able to educate them using these options. And that's why I always tell people, hey, if you ask me, I said if you ask me, I would prefer putting my money into these investments rather than doing there are these things that people say, hey, we call the what? Insurance, the education insurance and what have you. If you can get this deal, that would be far much better than anything out there. And guess what? We've actually done all this magic using 30% of our total income, and that's how we grow ourselves. Promise me that you're gonna do something. Just don't make it this be a time whereby you just watch and say, hey, wow, you have a very good point. Wow, amazing. I love your videos. And then you go back to the same problem. No, but if you're outside the country, make sure that at least you invest more than 40%. That's what I always tell people. More than 40%. More than 40%. You find somebody is earning 100K and you're able to save at least 10. My friend, you're not doing the right thing, bro. You're not doing the right thing. Okay, go ahead and do something at the end of the day. Anyway, this is the end of my video, but don't forget this. I always post a video of such kind each and every day. So if you don't want to miss my good videos, do this. Doesn't cost you anything. It's free of charge. Down below there is a small button written subscribe. Hit that magical button. Hit that magical button. You know what the importance? You'll be notified by YouTube whenever I upload a new good video. Give this video a thumbs up, and as well, comment down below, tell me what you think. For now, it's a goodbye and see you in the next one.